What's going on, everybody? This is Turner Schaus and Landon Pugh here with we've rebranded our podcast to Beyond the Arc podcast. So, Landon, are you doing good today?
Doing good, man. I'm ready to get back into it.
Oh yeah. So we wanted to start the first couple episodes with talking about different things with basketball, and so the first one of the year that we wanted to talk about is with different levels of basketball, what changes could we see happening or that we would want to talk about? The one that we talked about that actually already getting implemented is the replay review system with college, because it seemed like it was kind of ridiculous. Landon, wouldn't you agree with this past year with it?
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like every other call was being reviewed, and I think it messed up the flow of the game too much. And so I'm glad they finally did something to it.
Yeah. So what we're talking about with the change is basically they implemented the coaches challenge system at the Division 1 level like the NBA has. So from what I understand, I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same way. Have you read up on it to see if they get the two challenges or if it's one?
From what I've read, I believe it's just one.
Okay.
And then if you get it right, then you continue to have a challenge. But as soon as you get it wrong, then you're without challenges.
Right, which I'm a huge fan for, and I know you are too, just because it saves time. I know that like people watch a basketball game to watch basketball. It's not like they keep track of the time. But at the same time, it's like all these commercials and just like waiting around, like it gets repetitive after a time. And seeing that, which this NCAA tournament was a great NCAA tournament, but it seemed like every time that like there was a debatable call, it's like, okay, we have to wait 5 minutes for a review.
Yeah. And I think the players were they were just abusing their power. I mean, every call they were looking at their coaches to, challenge the player. They were looking at the refs to, do it, and they're just stopping the play just to review something just for a chance that it might change when, at the end of the day, it's changing the flow of the game, and it's just not a fun product to watch.
No, and also like the opponents of the team that are losing like could take advantage and be like, oh well, maybe that was off the guy's foot, maybe not, but the other team is hot right now, so let's try to get a replay review to slow the other team down. Like it was almost like there was strategy involved with it, and it was just like definitely needed to change.
It's almost like the fake injury rule in football.
Yeah.
You'll see a coach tell the player to get down just to create an extra timeout so they don't have to use one. I mean, it's the exact same thing.
Yeah, and so that was one thing. That was the only thing that we had that actually got changed, which both of us, like I've said, are a big advocate for that, and I'm definitely excited to see that. I know that it only affects the higher Division 1 and then possibly lower divisions, like depending on how like the technology is and all that, but I mean it's a good step in the right direction.
Yeah, before we move on from this, I want to get your take on something.
Mm-hmm.
So I was watching a video, and I kind of agree with it. Someone said, so you know how every time a player wants a review, they twirl their finger in the air looking for a review, right?
Right.
Should a player receive a technical every time they do that? I mean, because at that point it would stop the players from being obnoxious, just looking to get a review every time.
Right. I could see that for sure. Like, I mean, it's definitely like it's hard because the fans already are not a big fan of the taunting technicals that are, and it's definitely like the fans, like a good amount of the fans will call the referees quote unquote soft, even though that they are supposed to call it with that. So, and I know like in the MLB they toss them for that.
Oh yeah.
So that is a good point with that. Personally, as a fan, I would not like to see it. Just like, I mean, there needs to be, of course, it gets obnoxious, like you just said. So there needs to be a fine line. So I could, yeah, that actually I could see that happening.
It was a video I saw of a former player saying it's like, it would stop players from asking for a challenge, especially at the NBA level.
Right.
They'll just put their finger in there and start twirling, asking for a review, and it's like, just move on to the next play.
Right. Do you And so it sounds like you would be an advocate for it.
Yeah, I'd be in favor for it. It's like I'm all for taunting everything, but I'm tired of the players just asking for a review every time they think something went wrong. Like, just move on to
Right.
the next play. So,
I like the taunting aspect more just because, like, it makes the game interesting. Of course,
yeah,
like, I feel like they need to be, like, more chill about that compared to players whining at the refs just drives me nuts. Like,
yeah,
there's a difference with, like, taunting, like, you dunk on someone and you try to show some energy and you get a tech for it compared to like trying to whine about a call for 5 minutes. Like, so I changed my thought. I agree that there should probably be a technical foul there.
yeah. And I would love to see taunting come back because I think the game's gotten soft a little bit with like the rage baiting and like foul baiting and everything like that.
Right.
So I'd love for some taunting just to happen. Just players can push the others around and toughen them up a little bit.
Right, because like I know that it is organized basketball at the end of the day, but then like you go out and play like outside, like they're not going to call a technical foul for taunting. Like the goal like in like summer ball for example is like if you get in your opponent's head, like they're done for.
Yeah.
And then like you get punished for it in organized ball, like it that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the WNBA. I mean, people are talking about it more because it's getting physical.
Right.
Now, is that physicality like, do I want to see the girls going out there and just trying to kill each other? No, but at the same time, like Sophie Cunningham, like she's not backing down from another player on a different
Mm-hmm.
team from going after her teammate, and it makes it fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that the WNBA has definitely like over the past couple years like probably even like tripled in viewerships, and it's because it's become a more competitive league, and a lot of more eyes are on it, and it's being promoted more, which I like to see.
Yeah, absolutely, I do too.
Yeah. All right, so we've got four different categories of stuff. There's not a whole lot. There's only about a change or two at each one that I wanted to talk about. And the first one is one of the more obvious ones that people have talked about for a while now, but it's inconsistent with state to state, and that is implementing the shot clock in high school. Now, it does. So here was my thought. I was thinking about this today. You don't even have to spend a lot of money on implementing a shot clock like on top of the goal, for example, if you don't have the money to do it. You can even like have a shot clock, like on the side of the like scores table, for example, like or even like on the baseline, cuz that's something that I've seen like I've been playing like outside like men's league basketball, and they've got it like that where like there's no shot clock on top of the backboard, but it's in the corners of like the court so that you can still see it and like people are running it. I don't feel like the expenses with that is like too high, and then like as it gets advanced and like as money can potentially be pouring in, then that's when you pay for the actual like shot clock that would go on top of the backboard. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like you. I've never, looked into the financial aspect of it, but I mean, there's a lot of ways you can raise money nowadays to make money to get that,
Mm-hmm.
so you can afford the shot clock. And I mean, I think it just takes effort and time to allocate those resources, and I don't think it's a hard thing to do. And it's like, why wouldn't you want a shot clock? I mean, what are the pros and what are the cons of it? I think there's a lot of pros to it, and I think there's no cons. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
do you think there's any cons to it?
No, no. I mean, you prepare players that want to play at the collegiate level by doing it, and also like I know that high school games like you're not gonna get a huge crowd unless it's like prep school, but like it makes the games more interesting compared to holding the ball for 5 straight minutes like at the end of a game.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen a game here in Kentucky that went into triple overtime, and each overtime they just had one shot
Right.
because the team would just stand at half court and dribble the ball out, and it's like, I mean, what are we doing here? I mean, you're trying to get these kids ready to go play at the next level. Meanwhile, these kids are just standing at half court dribbling the ball for the entire 5 minutes, just waiting to get one shot up.
Right. at the end of the day, like, you're trying to prep your youth to go to the next level, and implementing a shot clock would definitely help with that.
Yeah, and it's almost like I mean, there's some states implement it in high school, and there's some AAU circuits that implement it, but it's almost like, the states that aren't known for basketball in high school, or the circuits in AAU that are lower don't have it. It's almost
Mm-hmm.
saying, well, if you're good, then we'll give you a shot clock, but if you
Yes.
guys aren't good and we don't have a product, then we're just not going to give it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then look at Cooper Flag, who's from Maine. I mean, it's the first player that's ever been drafted from Maine in a long time. What if you just said, sorry, Cooper, we're not going to give you a shot clock because you play in Maine?
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I totally agree with that, and that's like going to my point about the prep school thing. Like, the Montverde academies, the IMGs, the Oak Hill academies, like, they play with a shot clock, but that's because they'll they'll play at like bigger venues, and like more money will get drawn in, and like basically everyone on their teams are gonna go play college ball regardless of level. So why not, even like I mentioned before, like, you don't even have to have a huge shot clock that takes a little bit of time to put in. Like, even if you have like a smaller one that, like, people can see from the sidelines, or people can see from the court, maybe on each side of the court there's one in like a corner, for example.
Yeah. Or, I mean, even, just add an extra space to your scoreboard and just have it connected, Wi-Fi or Bluetooth-wise to your scoreboard. Or even just go back to what they do whenever the shot clock doesn't work in a college game. Just keep it on the court with the refs,
Right.
Until you can allocate those resources to get one on top of the goal, just keep it on the court.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, going to college, Landon, I feel like you texted me about this originally.
Yeah.
About So yeah, you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, implementing the advance the ball timeout rule to the college game. We see it in the women's game, and I think it's a great rule. I mean, obviously, if you implement this rule, it'll take away, full court, bringing the ball down, half court heaves, stuff like that. It'll take away from some excitement, but I think it really gives coaches a chance to have a shot to win the games at the end of the day. I mean, if you look at the percentage of chance of a shot going in from half court and beyond, I mean, the percentage of shot going in just goes down and down. Well, you're gonna have exciting games if you get to half court just by calling a timeout and you've got 7 seconds to drop a play. Well, then you at least got a shot and you got a chance to watch a buzzer beater. I mean, as much as I love half court shots, I think being able to implement the timeout and give your team a chance to actually win the game or tie it is pretty exciting.
Yeah, and even like, it's here's my counter argument, that, and then I'm gonna like rebuttal it. Is like talking about, like, this sounds like it's from a fan perspective almost, just like, oh, you just want to make it more interesting compared to trying to win the game, and it almost bails out like the offense. Well, what if the team doesn't have a timeout? Like, there's still a strategy with it where, like, the team has to have a timeout in order for this to happen at the end of the day. That's kind of my
Like,
thought.
let's see who the real coaches are. Who can draw up a play?
Right.
Like, instead of just inbounding the ball and telling your players, run the court and just do what you can do. I mean, I look at Cal when he was coaching at UK. His philosophy was just let his players do what they do, and a lot of the times it didn't work out. I want to see what, as Cal, as a Hall of Fame head coach, what can you draw up to put your players in the best position possible to go and win the game.
Right. And he had two opportunities against, it was Texas Tech. Whenever it was the end of the second half, whenever did Wagner miss both? Like,
I think so. I know he definitely missed the overtime one.
yeah, and I feel like it might have been the second half too. But like, there wasn't really a whole lot of direction. Like, if you call it, but then if you call that timeout, there could be a direction. But
Yeah. I mean, Wagner didn't even get a shot off. I mean, he was dribbling it, and then he lost control of it because he had no idea what he was doing. The game
right,
is fed up at that point. If you call a timeout, you get in the huddle, you slow it down a little bit, you show them exactly what to do, and all they got to do is go out there and execute it.
right, exactly. The next one we have in college is talking about um, changing the system with men's college basketball, changing it from halves to quarters. And with this, I could be wrong, but men's college basketball is one of the only levels of basketball left, besides possible summer ball with running clock, that has halves still. Am I
Yeah.
wrong?
No, you're correct. It is only men's college basketball.
Yeah. Even the women's side has changed to quarters. So this goes back to even the preparation, like I said. I know that there is a small percentage of college basketball players that play at the professional level, but you are not helping your guys develop if they wanted to go pro by playing in the halves compared to quarters, because you go into EuroLeague ball, like it's not going to be the same, like, at all. Like, it seems like it would be a faster pace with the quarters. Do you think so?
Yeah, well, I mean, just look at the foul perspective. In a 20-minute half, you get 7 fouls before you start shooting. In this situation, it takes 5 fouls in 10 minutes to get to the foul line. So the free throws are going to go down because they're going to reset every quarter. And so instead of it being just 7 fouls in 20 minutes, it's 5 and 10. And so that's going to speed up the game by doing that. And I think that's why the women's game is getting more popular, especially in college. I mean, because they're playing at a faster pace.
Right. And yeah, again, I know that it sounds like a lot of the fan perspective, but like a faster pace of basketball, definitely, like, basketball is not meant to be slow.
No,
People can slow it down and try to break it down by plays and such, but you can still run your plays in a 10-minute quarter rather than a 20-minute half.
yeah, and it takes out a media timeout. I mean,
Yes.
I think we get 5 media timeouts right now and a half, and you'd only get 4 in this situation.
And I can tell you personally, like, even at the Division 3 level, like, there there are a lot of media timeouts.
Yep.
And of course that makes the game feel longer, and then, like, guys are ready to play. Like, it's not like they want to sit every 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And
Well, and
yeah.
I mean, just look at I mean, fan viewership and everything. Like the attention spans of people is just going down and down every day that we
Mhm.
live. And so you keep putting these commercials out there, then people are just going to get uninterested. They're going to get on their phone, and then they're going to look up and be like, "Oh, the game's on."
Right. And yes, even with that, it's just like some people, like, I know that, like, me and my dad, for example, like, sat down, and whenever we try to watch, like, mid-major basketball at night, if we're just flipping through the channels, like, we're trying to see a game that is on, like, and if the game's on commercial, we're just going to flip. And so you lose the opportunity to get new viewership by having a lot of media timeouts.
Yeah. Well, and just look at March Madness. You know, there's 4 games going on at a time,
Mm-hmm.
and you're wanting to watch a game. So you're going to have a quad box up, or you're just flipping through channels because you want product. You don't want to watch the commercials, and
Right.
they're making it so expensive for you to go to the game. So now people are having to rely on watching it on TV. Well, you're just making it less interesting just to watch it on TV.
Yeah.
So,
And back to what I was saying about, like, even before with the reviews, like, you want the opportunity to, like, say you're on the side that your team's going on a run. You want to keep your foot on the gas pedal for as long as possible. You don't want a media timeout messing with your flow.
yep, yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. It's just I think this is another shot clock thing in high school. It's like
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of pros, but there's really little to no cons to it. So why wouldn't you do it?
Right.
But I think at the end of the day, it's just a money grab. Like they want these timeouts, they want the ads, and they want to make money.
Yeah,
I think
which with NIL, like, you kind of have to.
I think it's gotten away from. I mean, just look at the finals. I mean, it took fans griping on Twitter to get them to start showing the starting lineups and the anthem.
Yep.
They haven't put the final script on the floor until game 3, and even then, it was with an ad. Like, they're
Right.
worried about advertising instead of having a good product to show the fans.
Yeah. The thing that I will say about that, which you can't really control it a whole lot, is like probably since COVID, the illegal streaming has definitely like quadrupled.
Yep.
And so that's what makes it difficult for these organizations to like to try to maintain, profits every year or even just like make money for that matter because like, it seems like every year they say like, oh, the NBA finals and even like March Madness is at an all-time low. It's really not. It just people are finding ways to watch it for free if they don't have streaming sites.
Yep.
And, then you can't add that to the
Yeah.
viewership equation. And there will be like 75, 100,000 people watching the NBA finals like that are like they're sitting in their like house watching it on an illegal site.
Yep, I agree. And I mean, I don't blame the fan for doing it. I mean, I don't want to spend, $100 or $200 to be able to watch every game.
Right.
But
Yeah.
also, I think another thing with this rule, will it cut down on injuries? Because instead of playing a long 20-minute half, you're getting a 10-minute half, a break, and then a 10-minute half, halftime, 10 minutes, break, 10 minutes, instead of
Yeah.
20 full straight go, halftime, 20 full minutes straight go.
Right. And the production I feel like would go up too with fresh legs.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, going to the professional side of basketball, we're mainly talking about the NBA at the end of the day because the two rules that I like am pitching on here that could possibly change is around FIBA and EuroLeague type ball. So the first one, which this is kind of a more crazy one, and I honestly just threw it out there because I wanted to see like what you thought and even like people listening thought. What would you think if the FIBA rule where players can hit the ball off the rim once it touches the rim was implemented?
Oh, I love it. I mean, how fun was the Olympics to watch this year?
Oh, it was the funnest like basketball like I've watched like in a while.
I think the biggest topic that came from the Olympics was should the NBA go to FIBA rules? I think
Yes.
it's the best product you can play. It's
Mm-hmm.
fun. It makes the players more competitive. It gives the players a more defensive advantage because the game is about offense. And what do people complain about in the NBA? There's no defense.
Right.
If you can go hit the ball off the rim, I mean, obviously you're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I love it. I think they should. I think all the rules should go to FIBA rules, not just one rule in particular. I think it should all be FIBA.
Yeah, because then the Olympics and even just like the FIBA rules, like would take less time for like our NBA guys to adjust to it.
Yeah. Well, and here's like you wouldn't have to review goaltending. I mean,
Right.
you're hitting it off the rim. It's fair play. I
Yeah.
mean, there's one review cut down, and a lot of times goaltending is one replay that slows down the game because they call it and then they stop the play. Oh, sorry, it wasn't goaltending, so you lose your possession and just go to the other team.
Right. Yeah, and even like the yeah, basically what you just said with like, oh, say they call it goaltending, and then like 5 minutes later there's a media timeout, and they look back at it and be like, oh wait, that wasn't goaltending, so we're gonna take your 2 points away. Well, that is potential momentum,
Yep.
and
Happens so many times as a Kentucky fan this year.
yes, well, like even it happened like with me at the Division 3 level. Like, well, our team was going on a late run, and I want to say we were down 4, and then a media timeout happened, and they called back a goaltending. So then we were down 6, and then we dug ourselves a hole and lost by probably about that 6 to 8 point area.
Yep.
So it happens everywhere, and I The only goaltending thing that they would have to look at from here would basically be the obvious like jump up and grab it midair type of goaltend.
Yeah. But I mean, I think it'll eliminate players doing it because I think they would just stand at the rim and wait for it to hit the rim. I
Right.
mean, so
Yeah.
I love it. I think they should implement it, and I think they're talking about it. I don't know how serious the talks are, and I don't know if it'll happen anytime soon. But I mean, I would love it.
Yeah. And then the other one that I pitched here with the professional level, mainly in the NBA, is removing the 3 second defensive, like in the lane. I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but is the NBA the only league that has defensive 3 second?
Yeah. College, no. International, no. High school, no. Women's, no. I don't think so.
No. So that's my thing. It's like why be different from everybody else with that?
I think it's the stupidest rule ever. Like
Yeah.
they're getting no advantage from standing in there. I mean, if I'm being honest, I mean they're not.
Yeah.
I mean, just it's and then you award the offensive team a free throw. What does them standing in the paint longer than 3 seconds have to do with giving another team a point and then the ball back?
Right. Yeah. It's just not a very like smart rule. It's basically trying to benefit the big guys from like staying in the lane. Like, but like at the end of the day, like NBA is 90. I'm gonna say 97 because of the zones that happen in the playoffs. NBA is about 97% man. I'd have to look it up for sure. So the big is going to be guarding the other big, who's going on the pick and roll, or pick and pop, or even just like moving block to block. The the big that is guarding the other big has to follow them. It's not like they can let them go because you have Jokic, you have Towns, and even whenever he's healthy, like Embiid, they can consistently hit shots from the elbow to the three. So it's not like you can just like sit in the paint and let them shoot. I know that with some guys in the NBA you can do that with, but like the game is evolving to where 1 through 5 can shoot. So you're gonna have to chase your guy regardless. So I don't feel like there's a whole lot more that you can benefit from this defensive 3 second rule.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm going to go back to it. We've gone over it over and over again, but pace of play. You're going to stop the game because a guy's standing in the paint for 3 seconds. You're going to stop an offensive team from running their offense because the guy was standing there for 3 seconds. I mean, if anything, it's a disadvantage to the defense because their guy's just standing there.
Right.
He's not in help. He's not sitting there to help on the baseline or anything. He's just sitting underneath the basket.
Yeah, and so like it honestly like you basically said, like the offense can then like run like 5 out, and then one guy could be open.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, it's like you can expose it.
yeah, I mean, throw a skip pass, then he's going to run out there, and then he's going to get beat baseline. It's not like he's giving him any help.
Right. So it's honestly like you can expose like people like sitting in the paint, and like the NBA has been trying to do, basically, is trying to make this more of an offensive game. Even if it sounds like this helping the defense, it can help the offense.
So I think it is the dumbest rule in all levels of basketball.
Yeah, and the fact that it's only in the one league is even more ridiculous to it.
Yeah, I don't understand the rules that go on where it's in every league except for one. Well, I mean, I understand if there's a rule where it's in all but 2 or 3, but why are there rules that it's only in one level of basketball?
Right. And one league of basketball, for that matter. It's not even just a level. It's one league.
Yeah. So
Yeah. But here's one that I didn't type up on here that I want to get your like thinking with. So the backstory here is I've listened to the Mind the Game podcast. It's with Steve Nash and LeBron. Have you heard of it?
Yep.
Yeah, so they talk about how like the intensity like of the physicality picks up like around the playoff time and how it's completely different from the regular season and it seems like things like hand checking for example are becoming more common again whenever it comes to the playoffs. Do you think that hand checking should still be called?
Um, to what extent are we talking about? I'll give you a couple examples.
Yeah.
Are we talking about they're just arm on the back while they're just dribbling up top? Are we talking about slapping down the ball and you hit the wrist? Or are we talking about Casey Wallace grabbing T.J. McConnell's wrist for 5 seconds while he's dribbling up top?
The one that I'm mainly thinking about is almost like just like hand on the hip,
Okay.
like while I mean the person can have the ball or not, but like the defender is trying to stay with the offensive guy. Like
Yeah.
basically trying to use it as like a tracing point, like or like just like tracking where the player goes.
Yeah. Okay. If we're talking about it that way, then I think it should. I think it's fine. I mean, if you are not changing the offensive player's direction, if you are not changing their balance, if you're not changing their ability to transition the ball from one hand to another, then I don't think it's affecting the game in any way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at some point we have to reward defense.
Yeah, absolutely. But I agree with you. Like if if you like, I know that there's there's physicality in basketball, but if you are literally like I saw it with Anthony Edwards with LeBron, for example, if the guy like LeBron is just like he's like jogging to his spot and Edwards is just pushing him out of bounds, like that should be called.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
Well, and you've got players like Lou Dort who are absolute tanks of a guy.
right,
I love the physicality, but you can't if he's going down the middle, you can't just push him all the way up to the 3 point line by shoving
right,
him out there.
right,
Like that's to an extent, you have to call it. But
yeah,
if you're just arm on the back, or if you're just following him or tracing him, I think it's fine. Because even now, I think if I'm not mistaken, in college, as a post player, you can't even arm bar him anymore in the back,
no, they call that.
which I think it hinders the defense. I mean, as a post player, you got to have something there to be able to not just let them back you down.
Right. Yeah, I mean
I get I
the
get the two hand
the
shoves.
positioning part of it like needs to be rewarded.
Yeah. So I think to an extent we allow it, but also to an extent we can't allow it. So I think it's just a thing of how do you word the rule.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so the last one that I have on here goes to any level of basketball, and it goes to the more statistic side of things. And I said that players should be rewarded an assist when passing to a player who gets fouled and they make both free throws. Because my thought too with this is that they get an assist whenever a player gets an N one, and I feel like the player gets the 2 points. Like you get the reward of points for the possession of getting fouled, and if you make a good pass, then like I feel like you should get rewarded with an assist for that. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of times where a player has, let's just say a point guard is at the top of the key and they catch one of the guys on the baseline sleeping and they make a great pass, thread it, through the defense. Well, then they're just going to do a take foul. I'm not going to let you just get an easy layup.
Right.
I mean, so you're just not going to allow me to get an assist because the guy got lazy and just decided to take foul?
Yeah. Exactly.
So I would love to see this rule come in effect just for times like that, because at the end of the day, point guards or anyone should get rewarded for making a great basketball play.
Yeah. And like you basically just said, like there are times whenever like even like a player gets a great pass to them, and then they get a little bump and they miss an easy one, but they make both free throws. You still get your 2 points, but the point guard like doesn't get rewarded except for like a moral team victory.
Yeah, well, here's how you should say it. How did the player get to the free throw line? They were assisted there with a good pass.
Yes, exactly. Now the only thing to like counter myself would be, like at the end of the game, whenever like say like the inbounder passes it to a guy who gets fouled and it's the double bonus and he hits both. Like,
Yeah,
would you? I mean, I guess at that point, like the technicality would be, well, if we're gonna call it one way, call it the same way with that one.
uh, I think you just put an asterisk in it and just say it has to be in a shooting motion.
I like
I
it.
don't think I don't think you can assist or pass it to a guy because you're up five late in the game and they just get fouled immediately. I think you put an asterisk and say it has to be in shooting motion.
I like it. Yes, I like that.
So I think that's clear and obvious. I think you can tell when someone's shooting and when someone's just like for instance, if a guy inbounds it and he knows he's going to get fouled, so he's just chucking a shot up to try and get three shots instead of a 1-and-1 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he's just trying to foul. He's just trying to get three shots. But if
Right.
it's a legitimate like going to the lane for layup where you hit someone in the corner wide open for three and they shoot it, but the guy runs over him, yeah, you should get the assist. But if it's just a rapid foul, nah.
Right. Well, I've gone through my potential rule change pitches. Do you have any other ones that you want to talk about before we sign off?
What do you think about fouls? So in the NBA, it's 6. In college, it's 5. Do you think college should go to 6? Do you think NBA should go to 5? What do you think?
I think NBA needs to go to 5.
Yeah.
I feel like 6 is just too much. Like if you're at 5 fouls, like you're you're a hack almost. It seems like for that game at least. I know you get put in bad situations sometimes, but like professional basketball at the end of the day is the only level, I'm pretty sure, besides like AAU ball, that has the 6 fouls. And
Yeah,
what were you gonna
I
say
think you're
with it?
right.
Yeah.
Well, I think it rewards lazy defense,
Yeah.
especially in the NBA. Like you've got players that they say, oh, you have one foul in the second quarter, so you can give a foul.
Right.
Late in
You've
the
got
game.
fouls to give. Exactly. That's the
Yeah. So you take that away because if you get 2 fouls in the first half, what normally happens in a college basketball game? You're getting sat down.
Yep.
You don't have fouls to give.
Right.
So I think it helps pace. I think that's just the biggest thing that we've talked about today is just helping the pace of the game, helping the
Yes.
flow of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, anything that we've talked about, whether it be, media timeouts to even just like advancing the ball, defensive 3 second, like all of it, like all of these rule changes, to perfectly sum it up, will help the game of basketball and the pace of it be less slow, less waiting on stuff, and more just an efficient way of watching and playing the sport.
Yeah, and like in the NBA it's a 24-second shot clock. In college it's 30. I think college should go to 24. It'll speed the game up. You'll get a lot faster paced games. The flow of the ball is going to be a lot better,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll make for a better product.
Yeah, and the only reason why I think that college has it at 30 um, compared to the NBA who has 24 is because high school doesn't have one, and I feel like basically it's like having it's like here's a weird analogy for you. It's like whenever a kid starts riding a bike, they ride a tricycle, and then they'll move to a bicycle. That's almost how I feel like going from 30 to 24 is.
Yeah, I could see the argument for that. I definitely could.
And I know
Um,
that not a lot of players, like we talked about, go from the collegiate level to the professional level, but still, there needs to be some resemblance, basically.
yeah, and last thing from me, it's not a rule anywhere, but should it be a rule? Should there be a 4 or a 5 point line?
That is a good thing to finish it off with, and because I like how the big three does it.
Yep,
Like,
that's where I'm getting it from.
yep, I like where they've got it on, like, kind of like it's like from the volleyball line. You know how like people talk about that.
Yep.
The only thing that I will say, and ironically I heard this on the LeBron and Steve Nash Mind the Game podcast, is that the the youth could potentially develop bad habits with this, and
Yeah.
that would be like a bad example for the game. Now, it would be a big thing, like, a player's hot and they want to do a heat check, or a team is down four, like late in the game. But so I could potentially see that for where the big three has it. So it's for those listening, the big three. It's a 3-on-3 basketball league. It's half court. You take it back after everything that hits the rim. They have 4 point lines on what would be around the volleyball line of a regular court, which I could see that, but I could potentially only see it in like the NBA.
Yeah. I mean, I tell you who would love it. Dame, Steph, Tyrese. I
Absolutely.
mean, they shoot at least 2 of those a game.
Yeah. And so it's almost like back in the day whenever, like, the perfect one that I'm thinking about right now is, I want to say it was the 1972 finals, whenever the Lakers were down 2 and Jerry West hits a 3/4 court shot,
Yeah.
and it was a 2-pointer. And so it just went into overtime. If even it was a 3-pointer, it's ball game. But that shot was the same amount of points as a routine layup,
Yeah, which is crazy.
which is insane. So I can definitely see the argument of, like, it is a longer shot, so it should be worth more. But they're I would hope that it doesn't, like, hurt the game, basically, to where, like, people are practicing their 4-point shot all the time.
Yeah, the only reason I would be hesitant on it is I don't want it to turn into the All-Star game.
Right. And,
I
like,
don't want guys just
people
coming down
settle.
past that 4 and shooting it.
Yeah. I Yeah, people would just, like, settle and try to be goofy, at the beginning or at the end of games, and just try to have a 4-point shootout, and it would just be like, okay, let's wrap this
Yeah.
up.
Like, it was cool when Luka and Trae Young started doing it in the All-Star game, and they were, making everything, but that's good for one game. I don't need to see it every game.
Right. Yeah. So that's my only, and I may sound like an old head with that take about the youth part of it, but that's my only, like, thing that I could go against it.
And hey, we're getting old, so that's
We
all right.
we are slowly getting old, so we are going to turn into old heads at some point.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm all for it. I'm embracing it. So.
Yep. Same. Well, good show today, Landon. Is there anything else you want to say before we sign off here?
No, man. I'm just I'm glad to get back into the rhythm of it, and looking forward to some more episodes.
Oh yeah. We'll try to consistently record some in the next couple weeks. So everybody tune in.
Yes, sir.
All right, Landon. Good talking to you.
Yes, sir. I'll talk to you later.
Sounds good. See ya.
See you, man.
All right, thank you all for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, and see y'all next time.